LAFC begins a quest to return to MLS Cup final minus about 14 players. The Chargers get a huge break in their struggle against the salary cap, and the Rams admit that they have a wacky way of doing things. Good morning, I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the faithful Angelenos morning report. So, it is February 24th, 2024. I am back in St. Loser misery. And yes, I do feel like a loser. It does make me miserable. But what always lifts the spirits? Talking LA sports. And if you'd like to be in the know about LA, clickety-clack the like button. Clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notification bell. Hit that. It'll let you know when we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. By all means, comment. Matter of fact, there was a dude I forgot to get to last night. I'll be doing it later today. Now, before we go through the news and notes, a look at the scoreboard. LeBron James came back, scored 30 points. Anthony Davis added 28. Lakers wind up beating San Antonio 123-118. Also, Kawhi Leonard scored 24 points, and the Clippers knocked out Memphis 101-95. Meanwhile, today, totally love this schedule. Great variety. Anaheim is in town. They're going to be playing the Kings at 7:30. USC at UCLA at 7. And by the way, if you're a Bruins fan and wondering, Bruins leading scorer Sebastian Mack will not be suspended for tonight's game, even after elbowing a guy from Utah in the throat during last game. No, they're not going to sit him for the rivalry game. That's not happening. And by the way, Seattle is at LAFC at 1:45. Season opens with a question. Where the hell is Carlos Vela? And as we get to the news, I need to repeat that question. Where in the hell is Carlos Vela? Right? Teammate, or more accurately, maybe former teammate, Aaron Long, told the LA Times that Vela still even has his stuff in the locker at LAFC's training facility. Now, the Times is looking over the wreckage of the LAFC roster. Because, again, as I said at the outset, they are down 14 players that they had from last year that went to MLS Cup final. The Times is arguing that LAFC's success is making it harder to fit players under the salary cap. Really? Do you buy that? Now, I'm not claiming that I know the books, but did the bar really rise so high that 14 players had to be cut? True? Didn't that seem a little extreme? For that matter, the team the year before that won MLS Cup had to shed 10 players. So you're telling me that LAFC has shed 24 players over the course of 2 years. Now, I'm not saying that they're lying about the salary cap, because I don't have any idea how to explain the way MLS runs things. And I defy anybody who can explain how the hell MLS runs things. I'm just saying I'm skeptical. I have nothing to go on, but I really feel that there's something strange at play, because as a result, I'm actually genuinely skeptical that LAFC will compete for the Supporters' Shield, let alone a third consecutive trip to MLS Cup final. This is not to say that LAFC is all of a sudden going to be competing for a wooden spoon. This is not even to suggest that they're going to miss the playoffs. I think LAFC will make the playoffs. I don't think there's any question in my mind. But you cannot drain that much talent over the course of 2 seasons and just be in denial and say, oh, everything is cool. Like the dog meme, sitting in a house that's going up in flames. This is fine. No, it's not fine. Something's going on. The team even has 2 designated player slots, and you're not hearing one peep out of LAFC saying that they'll bring Carlos Vela back with that. Oh, they've told their fans they are going to add a bunch of players. Where's the jaw-dropping addition, guys? I'm just asking. Feel free to tell me I'm wrong if you're an LAFC supporter. I will listen. I'm flummoxed. What are they doing? Where the hell is Carlos Vela? The Chargers got a massive break with the NFL salary cap yesterday. Now, up until yesterday, we only had estimates to work with based on prior history. The estimates said that the salary cap for the upcoming year would be about $240 million. Then the actual number came in. It spiked by a record $30.6 million, all the way up to $255.4 million, an additional $15.5 million to work with. Now, don't get me wrong, the Chargers are still way over the cap, but man, that is going to solve a lot of problems for them. The Athletic, and by the way, there's different estimates as to how far the Chargers are over the cap. ESPN thought it was $22 million. The Athletic claims that the Bolts are $31 million over the cap. But let's be real. We were talking weeks ago about if the Chargers had to become cap compliant, that they would have to cut Joey Bosa, they would have to cut Khalil Mack, they would have to cut Mike Williams, they might even have to cut Keenan Allen. All of that is off the table now. All of that is off the table. You might still need to cut Mike Williams or maybe one of the edge rushers, but all four of them, that's not going to happen now. So if you happen to see General Manager Joe Ortiz, be sure to give him a shoulder rub, because those shoulders are going to be burned out after doing about 5,000 cartwheels in celebration down the hallways at the Chargers front offices. No happier man in the NFL right now than Joe Ortiz. Meanwhile, the Rams did sign wide receiver Demarcus Robinson to a one-year contract. And I got to tell you, that dude earned his contract. I don't know of too many players who found such a quick, steady, and productive groove in the Rams offense. Because if you remember last year, going into the season, we all knew Cooper Kupp was going to be the #1 receiver. We were pretty confident then about this rookie named Puka Nacua because he was just balling. But who the hell was going to be the #3, right? We were wondering, was it going to be Tutu Atwell? Was it going to be Ben Skowronek? It was neither of them. Robinson literally took the gig out from all of their hands. He earned it. And by the way, Tutu Atwell, this is his contract year. He might want to show up this time around. Meanwhile, Sean McVay met the scribes, and he went through a variety of topics. And all of the topics added up to one thing. It confirmed that the Rams have a wacky way of doing things. If it didn't get so many victories, you would swear they would show up in a clown car. But that's not the case. The Rams are actually good at what they do. And very few people can explain it. And so, well, McVay can explain it. But the scribes are like, what? This doesn't make sense. And yet they do it anyway and they win. Let me give you 3 or 4 topics that McVay touched on to give you an idea of how different the Rams are playing things. For example, the Rams are not committed to keeping their first-round pick. They haven't had one since when? Since there were only rumors of Donald Trump running for the presidency back in 2016, something like that. They haven't had one since then. And now, after all these years, they get one, and there's a possibility they could trade it away. I'm sure when the ESPN talking heads heard about this, they had to be talked out of killing themselves. I mean, I'm not pro-suicide, but no! This whole idea of, could you imagine Mel Kiper melting down on the Rams once again, trading out of the first round? I just get that in my head. But I got to tell you, if you have watched the way General Manager Les Snead builds a team, he has been very specific and very candid. He will tell you that he does not see a difference between a pick late in the first round and one in the second round. So if he's saying to himself, you know what, somebody wants to offer me 2 second-round picks or second and a third for this first, To Les Snead, that's a win because he gets cheaper, younger talent. And by the way, there's another rammy way of doing things. Sean McVay once again confirmed that the Rams will be missing out on the NFL Combine on purpose. They're just going to watch the NFL Network like everybody else that doesn't have a life. Now, in other things that the Rams admitted, they gave a vote of confidence to special teams coordinator Chase Blackburn. Now, this is one even I can't explain to you. I can explain the draft strategy. I can explain missing the combine. But I sure as hell can't explain or make an argument that the special teams unit, which cost the Rams wins last year, anybody remember that punt return in overtime in Baltimore? What about the fact that they can't find a field goal kicker? And you're going to give Chase Blackburn a vote of confidence? I can't explain it to you. They also admitted that they wanted center Coleman Shelton back. He is probably going to opt out of his contract because his current salary is just $2 million a year. Pro Football Focus says that he's due more than double that when he gets his next contract. Saying to people on LinkedIn that you recruit players for Chip Kelly does not equal job security. UCLA football has ousted Ethan Young as the football program's director of player personnel. For that matter, Darren Usher, who was supposed to work for the Bruins as general manager, is going to abdicate that job. He's running for the hills. He's going to return to Oregon. Both of these guys were supposed to be helping Chip Kelly recruit. And Chip Kelly doesn't recruit. How shameless are you to want to get a job recruiting under Chip Kelly? Is there possibly a lazier job in the United States? You imagine people talking about it. Hey, dude, what's your career? Well, I'm a professional cuddler. You know, I test pillows for softness. What do? Well, I recruit for UCLA football. Damn, bro, you're lazy. There's actually people who are specializing in recruiting over at UCLA. Who knew? The Dodgers rotation is kind of like watching the flying Walendas. You know, you watch that tightrope be stretched across, and there are the Walendas, 7 of them all balancing on top of each other in this reverse human pyramid or whatever. And you just watch it and you're just waiting to see when one of them is going to slip off the tightrope. I get that vibe every time I think of the Dodgers rotation. This year, you know that Walker Buehler is no longer in the running for the 5th guy, right? His debut is being pushed back a month. So we had assumed as a result that the competition for the 5th starter was between Michael Grove and Emmett Sheehan. But the Dodgers told the Los Angeles Times not to forget about Gavin Stone. Despite the fact that Stone's ERA last year was 9. Here's why. Dodger coaches believe that they have corrected Stone's mechanics, which led to multiple problems. For one, and most importantly, he was tipping his pitches. Also, Stone has abandoned his slider and is instead using a cut fastball. The reason for the cut fastball is it'll give him a good break, but it also comes in, obviously, faster. Basketball Reference took a look at the Clippers' odds of finishing atop the Western Conference. By the way, the Clippers are 3rd in the Western Conference behind the Minnesota Timberwolves, of all people. How startled were you when you learned that? Anyway, Basketball Reference gives LA just a 7% chance of finishing at the top of the conference, primarily because they are 0-2 against Minnesota and 1-2 against Oklahoma City. Now, the Clippers have the 3rd best offense in the NBA. Their main problem? They just don't get any rebounds, which leads to overall craptacular defense. There's plenty of games, even when they win, when they're allowing more than 120 points. That's just not going to be sustainable in the playoffs. Galaxy winger Joseph Paintsill, a designated player, did in fact get his visa issues cleared up. He will be made available Sunday for the Galaxy season opener at home against Inter Miami. But you let me know what you think in the comments thread. What the hell do you think is going on with LAFC? What would you do with this extra lifeline to bail the Chargers out of salary cap hell? And if you enjoy the content, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We're talking LA sports every single day here. Thank you for watching. I'm James. We'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Kian Corte El Queso production. Take care.